Hello and welcome to K2AV's Make Pretend AV Setup Show. My name is Jasky. If you haven't tuned into any of the previous episodes, what we do here on this show is we have a theoretical client with a theoretical budget and some requirements, and we design a solution to best suit their needs. On today's episode, we have Subramaniam, who manages and runs one of Perth's most prestigious country clubs. And he's come to us with some requirements for a specific space that he wants to activate using some audiovisual solutions. I'll let Subramaniam describe the requirements and then I'll come back and do the design, but let's get on with the show. Hello, I'm Subramaniam. I manage and run one of Perth's most prestigious country clubs. We currently have a room that we need to fit out with audiovisual equipment. It's about a 9 or 10 meter long room, and currently it's very aesthetically pleasing. It looks nice. It's used for gatherings, it's used for events, it's used for when we have new clients that want to sign up for the country club. What we want to be made possible in this room is to be able to have presentations, somewhere where we can project, display information. We want to be able to run trainings in this room. We need to train staff, sometimes we need to even train external suppliers, providers, things like that. We also need to be able to have social events in this space where we want to have free-to-air TV for events like Melbourne Cup, for events like the footy, for events like the cricket, and the ability to have just music playing in this space. Finally, it needs to be very easy for anyone to use. I don't have in-house IT staff that can set up whatever complex solution that's going to go in here. It needs to be dead easy that anyone that's booked the space can walk in and use it without too much training and uptake before they can get that event up and running. Most of the devices we use are a Microsoft Surface, so we would like to be able to have whatever the solution is compatible with the Microsoft Surface laptops. And the entire budget we have for this space, for this room in our country club, is $10,000. Thanks, Subramaniam. Now, the key part about designing this solution is the fact that Subramaniam mentioned that the size of this space is roughly 10 meters long from where the image is going to be displayed, which then means the person that's furthest back in the room that needs to be able to see the image is going to be at most 10 meters far away from that image, which then allows us to reverse engineer the size of the image that we require to suffice that space. So essentially the image size diagonally that we will need to make sure that anyone in this room, no matter where they're standing, can see the image is 120 inches diagonally, which essentially rules out a TV or a screen or a commercial display being the primary projection or display option, because a 120-inch TV is going to cost you an arm and a leg, and it's not a cost-effective solution at all. So we have to go with a projector, which means the first part of that design means we need to design the right projection screen for that projector to project on. So the brand and the model we would recommend is a recessed ceiling option with the brand Grandview and the model number GRIP RC120C. That's a mouthful. Because this is going to make it aesthetically pleasing, which they want in their country club room, it'll recess into the ceiling, so only when the screen is dropped down you'll be able to see it. Otherwise, it'll be concealed in the ceiling space and you won't even know that there is a screen in that room. Now, the projector that we need to use to project that size image, the 120-inch image, and bright enough that it can be seen by anyone in the room, needs to be at least 5,000 to 6,000 lumens in brightness, which means the projector we would recommend is the Epson 2250U. Now, the reason I choose the brand Epson, I'm not going to go into it in detail, but the key aspects are availability of spare parts, stock availability, because in the current COVID pandemic environment, stock availability can be quite difficult to access to be able to do the installations. Also, these projectors are used across these type of spaces around the world and are incredibly reliable from our experience. You can add on the option of having Mirrorcast built into this projector, because as Subramaniam mentioned, most of the devices they have are the Microsoft Surface, which means they have Mirrorcast built in. We can change it to the 2265U, and what that allows any of Subramaniam's guests to be able to do is to wirelessly send the information from their laptop directly to the projector without having to plug anything in. And you can upgrade the projector to a laser-based projector, and the difference is that you don't need to change lamps, you don't need to do any maintenance, you don't need to get up there and do any fixes. It'll last 10 years quite comfortably. It's a set and forget option for 20,000 hours. And that model of projector is the EBL610U. Now, to tick off the audio, the key requirements that Subramaniam mentioned are they need to be able to play audio for videos, for presentations, for someone showing some sort of plan, some sort of new client onboarding, things like that. We would recommend having 2 wall mount speakers for this space because it also gives you the option of having music playing if you've got a breakout, you've got drinks and people gathered in that space and you're not really using the projector at all. The model of speaker for those 2 wall mount options, 2 wall mount speakers, and a cost-effective option would be the model of speaker that we manufacture ourselves just for this purpose, and they are the 2K Audio 8-inch passive speakers. Alternatively, if we don't need background music with plenty of headroom and the ability to turn them up and have loud, pumping music for that occasion, you can have ceiling mount speakers, and for that we would recommend the Crestron Saros ceiling speaker, which are low profile speakers in the ceiling space, and for audios, for videos, for general presentation, they do a great job. And to the solution, we'd also add a set-top box. The brand we prefer is TIAC. What this lets you do is meet the requirement that Subramaniam mentioned, that sometimes people want to play the Melbourne Cup, people want to play the cricket, people want to play the footy, people want to display the press conference for any sort of COVID-19 updates or requirements in that space. What this will let you do is have free-to-air TV, and the final part of the solution is the controller. And what Subramaniam mentioned is it needs to be dead easy to use. So the controller we would recommend is the Kramer 6-button RC brand of controllers. What this will have is the option of turning the projector on and off. When you press on or off as a toggle button, the screen will drop, the projector will turn on, and everything will be activated. What someone will need to do is get their laptop and plug into a wall plate that we'll have available, plug in a HDMI, and you're off and running. Also on the controller will be the volume toggle, so you can go up and down, and that'll control the volume of either your ceiling speakers or your wall mount speakers, depending on the option that you choose. And finally, it will allow you to switch sources. So if we've gone with the wireless Miracast option, it'll let you switch to the wireless display option. Secondly, it'll let you switch to the set-top box if you want to have free-to-air TV. And that's it. We've designed the solution for Subramaniam's country club room. We have met all the requirements that he had for us under the budget of $10,000. However, if Subramaniam does decide to go for the laser projector upgrade, then there's an additional cost of about $2,000 inclusive of the installation. That is the end of today's episode. Hope you enjoyed it, and thank you so much for watching.